What is up and welcome back to Working Hard. Today's guest is someone I have wanted to have on for so long. It's Sophie T. If you have been anywhere near Instagram or TikTok in the last few years, you will know Sophie's bold and colourful art, which she's shared with her millions of followers and sells out around the world. Now, we've actually never had an artist on the podcast, which feels a little bit embarrassing to admit after over 100 episodes. But what I love most about Sophie is that she really didn't take the safe path in any of her art and the way that she's monetized her art. She didn't go to art school, she was snubbed by the art world, and yet now she has one of the biggest art empires in the UK. I feel like at the moment the creative industries are going through a really tough time. There is so much chat about what AI means for artists, and I feel like someone like Sophie is proof that art that connects with people isn't going anywhere. So if you've ever wondered what happens if you don't follow the traditional path, or how to build a career as a creative and the power of storytelling, this is the episode for you. Also, halfway through this episode there was a kind of freak thunderstorm, so just please bear that in mind, because it suddenly started being like there's blue skies outside now, which is very confusing because halfway through it went pitch black outside and there was lightning and thunder, so it got a bit witchy. Hope that's okay. And before we get into my chat with Sophie, just a reminder to follow the podcast wherever you are listening to it on. Every single Monday, I release a new episode to help you improve your life in some way and inspire you, whether that's mindset or health or work or so many other things. And also, if you're not already, come and join us on Instagram at @workinghardpod. I share clips, I share giveaways. There's a lot of not just behind the scenes stuff, but real deep dives into topics on the episode and interesting research and interesting articles that you should read. It's designed to be the kind of antidote to mindless doom scrolling. So come join us over there because you're missing out. Sophie T, are you currently more working hard or hardly working?
Great.
It was so expected, but still so hard.
Being an artist is the epitome of both. I think some of my most exhausting days have been where I'm literally just sat on my chair, looking at a canvas and just thinking. Mm-hmm. But no one else thinks that I'm doing anything, but there's lots going on.
Yeah, so it kind of always is part of your life and what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a constant job when you have a business, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And because I think you're one of the first people that I've seen that's really clear that you're doing both sides of that. And that's what I've really loved about watching your journey, has been you are an artist, absolutely. You're also a businesswoman, and you're showing both of those sides and showing the journey of it all. And I think that it's really easy to want to look at art as I don't know, not devoid of business, but the other side of it, if that makes sense. And so being able to see both of those sides tied together and really watch your growth has been amazing. But it must also mean that you're working on two completely different sides of your brain at the same time.
100%. But actually, I feel like being an artist is being an entrepreneur in its most pure form. Mm-hmm. We have to essentially sell ourselves, but mainly sell something that no one really needs, and that's hard. Yeah, and for the business side of it, I have not in the past spoken so much about the business side, because I feel like even commercially as an artist, to sell work, no one really wants to buy from someone who they think is good at business. You don't want to be ripped off by an artist. But actually, I do have my head screwed on with the business side of things. I study business, and through pure survival, I've had to have my fingers on the pulse about what's going on in the back end of my business to be able to sustain myself as an artist. It's expensive. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And I think that that's what so many people love about your journey too, is it is that transparency. It's not you kind of pretending, being oh, I guess you could buy it if you really wanted.
Yeah.
It's no, this is also a business and this is my job and this is what I'm doing. And we can enjoy both of those things. You can buy my art and hopefully get some enjoyment out of that. And at the same time, I can run a business and continue being an artist and make more of this art and be able to experiment and all of that. And it's not, I don't know, it doesn't lack the transparency of kind of pretending those things aren't related, which I love.
Oh, I appreciate that. Because I think, especially on social, I'm always walking this very thin line of you're curating an image, aren't you? And I always think that I try to keep the image that I put across online as close to my reality. Honestly, just because it's exhausting to try and pretend to be someone you're not, honestly. But yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because it is a business at the end of the day, and I have a team and we've got a product to sell, and I really want to change the world, and I believe I'm going to be the biggest artist in the world. Like, I know I am, and you've got to be good at business to make that happen.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And marketing and all the things that kind of go into that.
Yeah.
You didn't go down the traditional route though. You didn't go to art school.
No, I
so
didn't.
when did you first like pick up a paintbrush?
Well, I always loved painting at school, but I remember even my art teacher was like, Sophie, I know you're great at art, but have you considered a career in something other than art? And I think that was always drilled into me. So I did a business degree at uni, still like painted as a hobby, but not really. I did it at like school. And I randomly, you know, that like holiday that you go on before you like start like your corporate job.
Yes,
your grad scheme. Well, I remember my grad scheme was at Atos. I would have been an analytical consultant, which seems so hilarious now. Like, imagine me as a consultant. I'd be like, I don't know, YOLO, do it.
I'd pay for that. I like it.
Grace, thank you. And that travel trip was India, and there was a hostel with loads of graffiti all over the wall, and I was running out of money because I was like a skint student, and I just randomly asked the manager if I could paint in return for a free stay, and they said yeah, and it was the first time I'd like properly painted a finished piece since I was at school. And honestly, it was just one of those moments I was like, I've decided to be an artist. Like, this is the thing that happens in films, and like, yeah. And I remember emailing my grad scheme, like, yeah, I've decided, like, I've had this eureka moment. Like, you know, my life's goal is to become an artist. They were like, yeah, we don't care. We've got someone else. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us know.
So yeah, just like that, I was an artist, and I started out. You know, I did Google like how do you become one, and it was try and get gallery representation. So I, you know, pulled together a like small portfolio of work and did approach a few galleries. I was rejected because kind of I was shit, and secondly, like I had absolutely no experience and didn't know what to do. But I put that picture that I painted in India, I remember it was like a multicolored cow, and I put that on Facebook, and my mum was like, oh, I didn't realise you could paint like that, Soph. And then my mum's friend, Joanne, was like, cool, love this, Sophie. And then like I just saw more comments coming in, like a friend from uni messaged me like, oh, can you like paint my cat in like blue colours? And I was like, maybe there's some money in this. Like, okay.
The Facebook mums have helped.
The Facebook mums. Honestly, it's just been such incremental growth. But I think the interesting thing that I identified very early on was that there was a market for original artwork that sat on social media that wasn't being met in the fine art world. And my entire journey has been about bridging that gap. And honestly, through being not accepted for many years into that fine art world, and even like literally downstairs I was just overweighing a conversation, there's like some guy that works for an auction house, and I'm not sure whether I'll just say like I'm not sure whether you know like what the art world, like the industry is like, but an artist would be represented by a gallery takes 50% commission. That's industry
50%.
Yeah, that's industry
Whoa.
standard. So like initially I was like, I'd rather just like obviously just keep all the money and then just sell to the Facebook mums, Grace. Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
why
She did
not?
a business degree.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Thank you so much. And then so I just kept doing that. But now like this bridging the gap, which was my ultimate goal, like actually like these galleries, these auction houses, artists have the power now. Like we can sell directly to our customer on social, bypass any of these entities, and also command bigger prices. And like we don't have to get the approval of establishment anymore. It's a new game, and social media is, you know, responsible for that. But it's a fascinating place to be right now as an artist. And
yeah, and I think it's very related to both what's happened in the music industry, but also what's happened in like the e-commerce industry.
Yeah.
So like what used to happen for clothes, for example, take Tala, it used to be you would have to sell to wholesalers or retailers.
Yeah.
Like that was the only way you could get customers. So you'd get as many wholesale accounts as possible, and then that's how you'd grow, and then maybe you'd have your own store, but you wouldn't it wouldn't be direct to consumer online.
Yeah.
Whereas essentially what you did is you started out, what year would it have been approximately?
That was 2016.
Yeah, so pretty much when D2C brands, direct to consumer brands, were starting to take off, but like pretty early on as well in this like boom. And doing that as direct to consumer and like building your own audience and doing it that way is very like, it's very pioneering. It's not what was happening in any side of any industry. So it's amazing that you've been able to build that up in that way and kind of follow that different path.
I will say it was pioneering, but I did not have a choice. So like, although I'd like to say, yes, I was brave in that respect, like there was no other way. And like, I had to like pay my rent and buy dinner at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? So I like, it was never like a bigger strategic decision. I've always just like had to survive and like done what I needed to do. I will say like a pioneering move of mine was introducing payment plans to the art world, which is still, it's a bit more commonplace now, especially in fashion. But we were the first to do that. I remember I had a Squarespace website and like I was like clicking around and like one of the like products on it, you could like do a magazine subscription. It was like $1.99. I was like, what if I just changed that to like £100? And then I offered the artwork and then like the format was already in place. So I said, oh, I'll buy it through this and it will come out as a direct debit every single month. Wow. And now still 80% of our customers buy through an installment plan.
That's so interesting.
So, yeah.
And what you've really done there as well is like break down the barriers to art, which is, as you say, it's not something people need. I mean, we could argue against that. I think art and culture is very much something we all need as humans to live happy lives. But yeah, it's not a kind of essential good.
Yeah.
And therefore it being, that makes it more expensive because it means there's less kind of supply, all of these things. But at the same time, it being more expensive and it being not essential is like hard to sell it. Like it's a difficult product to sell. So being able to like lower that barrier and being able to put it in a position where it's like, you want this and there are other things you want that you don't need. I'm going to make it a lot easier for you to be able to get your hands on this is, yeah, I mean, it's, you can sell your studied business. It's very like, it's so, I feel like the way you've done art and the way you've kind of combined art and being commercial and putting these two things together and being able to like get people to invest in something like art that they might not otherwise be doing until they have a lot more disposable income is really, really impressive. Oh. But I want to know as well how you kind of went from that first, the painting the wall in India, all the way through to kind of where you are now, which is selling out collections online and having some crazy, insane launches online, because there's a big gap there. And I'd love to know like the main pivotal points.
Okay. God, 10 years it's been, which is crazy. I always used to tell the story that like, oh yeah, I'm new to being an artist, and then all of a sudden, now I'm not.
Yeah.
So there've been a few pivotal points. I'd say introducing installment plans went from me honestly working for myself to be able to employ 3 people. And
what were those people doing for
I love that
business?
You asked me this question because people ask me this question all the time. Like at our height, we had 16 employees. Everyone was like, what were they doing? And I'm like, it's just a business.
It's a business. Yeah, of course it is.
Like, I mean, customer service, sales, and honestly, just tidying up after me was the third role for that initial 3. As things have progressed, we've got supply chain, finance, ops. Alex, my amazing EA. I've got a CEO now, which was an essential move for me, actually. The hiring staff was a pivotal moment, but I've always like seen it as being like so important because like the entire goal of my business, and it seems very self-indulgent, but it actually is so commercially viable for us, is to keep me in a creative space, is to make sure that all I am doing is thinking about driving the art forward. Like, yes, there are the business side of things, which means we have to survive, but like this is actually why I don't typically like talk about the business side of things, because at the core of what we're doing, I'm an artist. Do you know what I mean? I've realised that many times along the way and forgotten it many times along the way and come back to it and had this moment that I'm like, obviously, like I'd worked that out in day one. another pivotal moment for me was getting a gallery on Carnaby Street.
Mm-hmm.
That actually happened in the peak of the pandemic in 2020. The first one that we had was this amazing 3-story bright pink shop on the corner of Fubert Street. I actually got an absolute bargain because and I'm not going to pretend that I paid full price for it. Like, it was a lottery win for me. It really was. And that for me was a chance to be like, yes, I'm an Instagram artist online, but like, it was my stamp of approval, and I really needed that. I've always had like a bit of a chip on my shoulder about like being an Instagram artist, and like, still to this day, I'm like, am I like a good painter and a good artist, or am I just really fucking good at making videos? Do you know what I mean? Like, I always have that in the back of my head. But yeah, getting that gallery really solidified me as a bit more of a household name, and also a bit more of a trustworthy source, because like, you know, the art is expensive, and like, how else can I command value? You need to showcase your worth, and being able to do that with a gallery when I, you know, didn't have representation from like mainstream galleries was a very important step. And that really like, you know, push my business forward. Having said that, I never saw that gallery because I was stuck in Sydney. I'm not sure whether you know this, but like, I moved to Sydney in 2020. So I say moved. I was meant to go on holiday to Sydney for 7 days, and
Escalated quickly.
Yeah, and I arrived, and the day I arrived, the international borders shut in Sydney. Yeah, it was wild, and I was with someone. And I had a decision to like basically stay or not. And I don't know whether you're across what happened with the borders in Sydney, but they literally were like, nah, no one's leaving, no one's coming in. So that entire 2 years of having that gallery on Carnaby Street, I only saw it on Instagram.
No, that's so sad.
I know, it is actually really sad, because it was such a moment for me, and a moment that I'm really proud of. But I've seen a bit about the way you talk about your success as well. Like, I struggle with taking a beat and being proud of myself for certain things, and I like wanted to have that, and you know, I wasn't able to experience that. But do you know what, like, it was fantastic, and my team ran it, and it was beautiful. I just want to say about how also congratulations on your shop.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Both Carnaby Street girlies.
Yeah, we love that. I'm actually not on Carnaby Street anymore. I had to shut it down.
Both our first stores.
I didn't make enough money from it. It's just so expensive to rent. I can't do it. But interestingly, like, the way the retail landscape has changed, it was really such a beneficial time for me, because do you remember how like people used to share like angel wings and like pictures in front of stuff and like
very
tag the
like
brand?
Paul Smith store, LA.
Exactly. Like, our Carnaby Street gallery, I knew that was a trend, and I just made sure that it was the most Instagrammable place you've ever seen in your entire life. Like, every single, there was art in it, obviously, but every single section was for Instagram. And like, that era, like, really blew us up. Now, I mean, we had the galleries around Carnaby Street for 5 years. Now I see like Gen Z's coming into my gallery and like taking a picture of the corner of the floor with like the exposure right down, and like not
You're like,
me.
I'm not prepared for this.
And I'm like, honey, you need to tag me for this to make me this commercially viable. So, you know, and that was a huge ego thing for me. Like, it was great for me to be able to do that, and it served a place in my business. It never made any money, but it was a marketing expense for me. But when that became not viable anymore, pulling the plug on it was difficult. And I've been through lots of ebbs and flows in my business. You know, we blew up during COVID. People were just looking at their blank walls, and it was an amazing time for art buying. And I was just in Sydney where nothing was really locked down, painting so much and then shipping it right back to the UK. Like, to mention before, I had 16 people in my team, a massive warehouse in Sydney, an office in London, a gallery. Like, it was excessive, and we kind of scaled up for that. But, you know, I'm not sure how old you are, but when I was like 28, I was like, I'm invincible. All I have to got to do is like plug more people into my business, and then like it will just keep growing. And then like it didn't. That was really difficult, and scaling back from that is one of my most proud points of what I've been able to achieve.
And I want to go into that because I think that's a really important thing to talk about, because businesses don't just grow. And I think people think in their minds like, oh, well, you reach this milestone and it's always up from here.
Yeah.
And sadly, that's not the case. And sadly, some businesses aren't made to be high growth, and some aren't made to be high profit, and some aren't made to all of these different things. But it's tough, and it's a tough mental game. But I first want to talk about the fact that a lot of these decisions you made, like opening up a gallery on Carnaby Street, or like just generally like the payment plans, like the way you do things, they've not necessarily been playing it safe, and they've not necessarily been the way that other people have done them in your space. So I'm really interested as to where you got that, I guess, either where you got inspiration or where you got the confidence to generally do things differently to how they were being done.
That's a brilliant question. I fully don't know the answer to that. I think that I operate quite naively in the art world. I will say that. Like I know myself very well, and I know that I'm really only motivated if I've just got like a massive thing going on. And like that's not healthy by any like stretch of the imagination, but like I don't know, my appetite for risk is high. I do know that. But I just love it. I just love the chaos. I thrive in uncertainty. I also believe that the way we're doing things and this change I'm implementing in the art world needs to happen. I recognize some things about some elitism in the art industry, and what I want my legacy to be is about democratizing access to the arts. And I don't believe that's been done in our generation. And I can't copy or mimic what's been done in the past. And art, like by virtue of being art, is about like pushing boundaries and really making people like think or feel uncomfortable, or like figuring out new ways of doing stuff. So like, yeah, I feel like what I'm doing, I mean, I've got like so many insecurities about like my art, and like I'm not a good enough painter, and I'm not good enough this. And I do have a point to this. I'll get to it eventually. But in the past, artists that have like been like generational icons have never done things in a way that people have done things in the past. Like they've always been looked down upon. Even in Impressionism, like, you know, these new eras of art that always come through, that they're always different to the last. And I was thinking about like what defines art for this generation. And social media obviously is huge. And I said about my insecurities about just being good at making videos, but isn't art about connecting to people? Isn't art about breaking down barriers and allowing people and giving people permission to be involved? In that case, like, aren't I doing that so fabulously in our era? And I guess the confidence to not play things safe comes from like, if you like artists that have like stand the test of time never have in history. So like that's fine.
Yeah, I like that as an approach as well, because I think that there's always this like perceived risk when it comes to not playing it safe. And what you're essentially saying is it's the opposite. The risk actually is coming from playing things safe, because if you're playing things safe, you're not likely doing anything different. And therefore, like, you know, by doing something different and by taking a risk and by not playing it safe, you're basically putting a stake in the ground and being like, this is what I'm going to do. It might not work, but like, this is, I know that I'm going to do something different.
Yeah. Thank you for so elegant.
I like that. You said it. But I guess for anyone listening to this who, whether they're in the art world or not, is naturally someone who plays it safe more, but knows that they should kind of take more risks in their career or their their kind of trajectory in general, what would you recommend to them to be able to gain that confidence, to be able to actually do that?
I think overall, no one actually cares what you're doing. I think that is a huge learning. Like, I'm just going to use a very random example, but I had a nose job when I was like 22, right?
Yeah.
I was so conscious about not having one for so long because I didn't want to be known as the girl who had the nose job. I wanted to be known as the girl who was the artist, right? I had it. I was like, oh no. No one cares. No one cares.
Yeah.
Just take the risk, do the thing, like follow like what you believe to be right for you, and then like get on with your life.
Yeah.
Like, so I think to pull that back to confidence, like we all have it within ourselves, and like being authentically yourself like is risky and can seem scary, but actually like everyone has this internal battle with themselves.
Yeah.
So like just do it.
And like, as we were saying before, it does feel like the real risk is not following the path that you think is made for you because you're worried about other people, because at the end of the day, it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
And I think this with my career a lot too, just because when I was starting on Instagram, it was so embarrassing because it just was like so far from like what people were doing.
Yeah.
And there have been so many things I've done since that feel embarrassing. Like sometimes when I'm posting, I'm like, yeah, there are people from school who follow me. I'm just like, God, they're just supposed to be like, oh, yeah, that's nice. And I just, at the same time, it's like, I don't know, if you spend any more time thinking about those people, you're spending less time thinking about yourself and your own trajectory, which sounds like narcissistic. But it's kind of like, okay, well, if this is me making a decision for me in my life and my trajectory in my career, surely what it does for me is the important question, not what other people think of it. And I just think there have been so many people who've come on this podcast and be like, I did this one random thing or this one really embarrassing thing, and that's what led to XYZ. And fear is just holding so many of us back from doing that.
And I'm still coming up to those fears constantly. Every day I'm like, we need to push past the cringe. Like, it's so embarrassing. So oh my God, it's so embarrassing. Like, I'm literally going up to someone in a charity shop every time I go in. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, oh, Doc, she doesn't want to see me. She doesn't want to be on camera. Like, but actually, the bigger impact of that, just stop it. Just like push through it. And like, yeah, God, it's so cringy, isn't it?
No, 100. But like, I feel like everything worth doing is on the other side of doing something difficult or cringe or that's going to make you feel like, oh, I'm going to make you nervous, like whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I feel like too many people are held back by the fear of being perceived. And it's like, you're going to be perceived anyway. And you might end up being perceived as someone who's done nothing because you did nothing because you were so worried about, like, everyone's going to think some shit anyway.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you do, no matter how palatable you try and be to everyone.
Yeah.
There's going to be someone who thinks you're embarrassing.
Yeah.
So you might as well be embarrassing and also have the career you want.
About 2 years ago, I was like making art and content and being like, trying to be like, doing these videos that were like me being like cute, but also painting. And then my videographer at the time was like, Sophie, like, no offense, but like, can you just like be yourself? Because like, I reckon it'll translate better on camera. And then I like just stopped putting my makeup on for videos because I felt like when I had my makeup on, I was like, even like had a bit of a mask on or trying to, you know, be someone that I wasn't. And then that weirdly identifying this like kind of new, content style, which is, we call it a chaotic cut in our like editing, which is just like me just being a crazy art girl, resonated with so many people because you can just tell I am being myself with it.
Yeah. It's like when I've tried to be aesthetic before, it's not for me. Like, aesthetic was not made for me. Like, my feed was not made to look nice, but it was made to look representative of my life. And like, whenever anyone's been like, I don't know, like, don't get me wrong, I love shoot planning and I love mood boarding and I love all of these things, the creative sides of my job. But at the same time, it's like people who spend time with me aren't like, oh, she's just so polished and aesthetic. Because I'm not. I'm a like car crash in like not even slow motion, like 2 times speed.
I feel like you see that on your social. I feel like you
but
get
that's
to,
why, because there's no other choice.
Exactly.
Like I feel like most people's socials only work when they are authentic to themselves, because usually that is otherwise you're trying to be good at something that other people are better than you at, and you're doing a shitter version of it just to like fit the molds.
100%.
And so it's like, if you're doing the thing that you are actually authentically good at, which for me is being like batshit crazy, that's a lot more useful.
You are so self-deprecating and brilliant in your content. You can see that going through. Like, it's like about 3 months ago, I just tried for a bit the clean girl aesthetic.
Oh, sure.
And Alex was like, "You don't wash your hair, Sophie."
This is not for you.
Fair enough. Okay, cool.
No, literally me. But I think that's like, there is a big point there, and it is in terms of like, you can, because you've been so successful on socials, I think someone would be forgiven for thinking that you have done things in line with trends. And I think that you've set a lot of trends and you've done a lot of things that lots of people haven't done. But I think realistically what you've done best is like, be yourself and do your art and do the thing that you want to do best. Like, you're doing that better than anyone. So at the same time as when the algorithms changed all of these different times, you don't need to keep up with it. In like, sometimes you do in certain ways when it comes to video hooks or editing or whatever it might be, but you're not keeping up with this new aesthetic or new trend. It's like, people are there for you. And like, say people stopped liking physical art or pink or like whatever it might be, like, you can adapt, but there's still this core of like why people like you for you. And that only comes from like finding out what you're good at and what you enjoy and like doubling down on that rather than trying to like conform, which I think you do very well.
Oh, thank you. That's very flattering coming from you.
Well, it's true. And when you were kind of growing overall, because I know that things really first started to take off for you over in Australia, because obviously that was when lockdown was and everything. Were there ever kind of specific moments, like one post or one launch or whatever it might be, that you were like, wow, this is really starting to take off, like this is starting to be bigger than I imagined?
Yes, there was one point in my career that I'd say my impact on the art world I thought had shifted. The money didn't follow as quickly as my impact, but honestly, I'm really not money driven. So like, that was huge for me. And it was slightly before COVID. It was when I started to paint nudes. And before that, I'd painted animals and abstracts. I painted animals because it was commercial. I did about 300 dog pet commissions. I don't want to see another pet commission in my entire life.
Please do not bring your dog near me. I don't want to see another fucking multi-poo. Get him out the face.
People call me, oh yeah, my dog, like, oh, she's so cute sometimes. Like, she just sits in the corner. And I'm just like, what's the colours, babe? Let's get this going. So that was great. And then they took me a long time. So again, like, having this like business lens on it, I shifted it to abstracts because I could do them more quickly. And then I was at a point, I think at this point, I had 5 team members and I could just breathe a bit. And I wanted to paint something or do something with my work that actually had a bigger positive impact. And I'd never had the best relationship with my own body growing up. Like, I always hate the size of my boobs. Like, I've said this before, but I like used to like stuff my bra with football socks. And like, I always remember thinking like, oh, when my future love of my life, I'll always have a bra on. Like, he'll never see me naked. Like, that was
you
a
in the bar,
genuine
waterlogged bra.
Yeah, that's like legit. Like, I have that solid core memory of me at 14. Like, but and I know, and I was like 24 and I was painting, and I know that it was because I never saw in a magazine or like a movie like someone with a more flat chest. Like, it was all this same body type, which was amazing and fine, but like, I wanted to see bodies like my mom's or like my sister's or like mine, honestly. And I kind of randomly, I was looking for images online for naked women. I was typing in naked women, obviously. Like, pornographic stuff comes up, so I'm like, okay, cool, so I can't use that. And so
You painting a Pornhub scene. Perfect.
And I'm like, really, I'm a vanilla girlie. So I was like, okay, cool.
How different your career would have been.
So then I was like, oh, well, I had a following of about 50,000 followers on Instagram at the time. I remember thinking, I just put it on my story and say, does anyone want to send me a nude? And overnight, I had over 1,000 images.
Really?
Yeah, it was insane. Like, and all from different women.
Men all around the world taking notes. Start artist Instagram, get 50,000 followers, post on Instagram.
Literally. But yeah, it was amazing. I got one dick pic. One. Pretty good stats. I got one the other day as well, I remember. Yeah. Oh my
You're
God.
like, yeah, unfortunately so.
But the best thing about it was all of the images came with stories why they wanted to share it. I remember this one girl sent me a Dropbox link of 150 images. I thought, you're a legend. Thank you so much. All from different times.
Oh my God, stop.
Amazing.
And she's like, this was for this man, this was for me, these were for the doctor.
Exactly. And then, yeah, I do remember one, and again, I say this often, but it does make me cry every time I think about it, because like she had a double mastectomy, and she said her mum had passed away from breast cancer 2 months before, and if that image could be part of the campaign, like,
oh
yeah, so like, I don't know, like there's just real people, real women out there like that have that don't love the way they look, and I feel like if my work can help people or women feel just a tiny bit nicer about themselves, like talk about like fulfillment at work, like that is it. So I've just been chasing that honestly for the last 5 years, and I'm loving it. And that, I think, was where people then connected with the work on a deeper level, because it was more meaningful.
yeah, and they could see themselves in it.
Yeah.
And how did you, I'm interested in how you moved on from that, I guess, because when you've had something that suddenly becomes really successful and becomes kind of your thing,
Yeah.
obviously you can still weave that into what you do, but you also want to evolve and you want to bring your business forward and everything. So like, were you ever afraid of doing different things from that point?
100%. And the reconciliation I now have after years of thoughts about it, I'm known for nudes. My work will always come back to the female form. There's always going to be a purpose for it, because we always need reminding as women that that we're okay the way we are. And like, I froze my eggs last year, and my relationship with my body completely changed. Like, my boobs finally came in.
You're like, ka-ching!
No, but they were like hard and pointy and gross. And now they've gone again, so it's fine. But that was interesting. And then, but you know, like the way I felt and spoke about my body just like got back into a negative cycle again. So there'll always be that place for nudes in my work. I kind of think of it like that's my legacy, and that's kind of like, if you're talking about it in a business sense, that's my core product offering, and that is what I'm known for, and that will never leave. Oh my God, Grace, there's so many things I can do in the art world. Like, I haven't even scratched the surface of like lots of fun little like ways I can bring a nude to life. Like, I've done work with glass sculpture. Like, that was a whole, you know, I haven't even begun on clay molding. I've not begun on like so many other disciplines within art, like that I can like bring the nude form to life with. So I'm not really too worried about running out of ideas, if you like, in that case. However, I will say, to your point, yeah, I have been nervous about like trying new things, because, you know, actually it might not be as successful. And that happened in reality, honestly. Like 2 years ago, I'd finished a big nude campaign. I do these big shows, like I had one at the London Palladium,
Yeah,
and
I
like
was
these,
gonna say.
they're amazing. Like,
Wasn't
women,
it like 10,000 women applied to walk naked for you at the London Palladium?
How amazing is
How many
that?
people can say that?
I know. I know. And I've just booked in Royal Albert Hall.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's, oh my God, I would love to.
Anyway, we'll move on. But
you put that on the poster. Grace Fit
Great.
UK. Naked.
Grace Fit UK. I love that you. It's so funny. I'm barmy_babe__hotmail.com. Anyway, what did I say? The nudes. Yeah, diversifying from the nudes is difficult, has been difficult. And what I have realized as a woman, my career is not a sprint. Like, I'm in a lucky position as a visual artist that it does have longevity. I can be an old crippled woman in the middle of my studio, and my work can still sell for lots of money. Like, you know, I always sometimes think how unfair it is sometimes when you see music industry and how that longevity piece doesn't ring as true. And because I don't see it as a sprint anymore, I've been able to like downscale my team and get to such a sustainable place for me where like I can actually afford to work on less projects, do them brilliantly, take risks, and still move my artistic voice and what I'm trying to build and widen my impact. But I can still, I can sustain it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the point I got to a couple of years ago, because if I'm honest, I was a bit of a busy fool. I was like mass producing art that I thought would sell and be trendy. And I lost my way a bit about like why I started it. Like I actually started painting because I do believe that like everyone should be able to enjoy the arts, and because it was something that genuinely made me happy.
Yeah.
And it had shifted into a business, and I have spent the last 2 years reestablishing the fact that art is the core, not the business.
Yeah.
It needs to be protected.
I think that's really, really powerful. And I think that there are so many things that we could think about in that way that we don't. And I think that we are in a world, definitely because of social media, but a lot of other things as well, where everything is so growth. Like it's all about bigger is always better. And that just cannot be the reality when it comes to our careers and our work. And like same comes for like if you get to the point in your career where it might not be the highest salary you can make, but it is the perfect balance of salary to having a life, to knowing your job well, to being able to know what you can expect and having that stability. Like not everyone, and I don't mean this in a patronizing way at all, I don't think I am, not everyone is meant to reach their highest form of success in numbers only. Like success can look like so many different things. And for lots of people, we assume that the best form of success is the biggest and the loudest and the most like awards or whatever it might be. And actually there's been a big realization for me in the past year or so has been like, no, the biggest version of success for me looks like whatever the success can look like and whatever the goals I want to reach and have reached, whilst also still being like a healthy, happy human being that is able to express themselves and occasionally go for lunch with a friend and like take lunch breaks and not come in super early all the time and not leave super late all the time. And like that can, if I can't achieve the top 3 things on my list while doing that, maybe that's fine. And I think that that is a really valuable lesson from what you've done, because I have no doubt there would have been other routes. And I think, you know, your art is going to reach amazing heights and your business is going to reach amazing heights. But there's no doubt for both of us and for anyone in any one business, there would have been another route we could have taken at some point that would have led to a bigger result. But that doesn't mean it was the right one. I guess for some people who might be listening to this then who know the pressure of monetizing creativity, all different industries, whether art or fashion or like many, many different things, how would you recommend people get good at doing that whilst also preserving that creativity and preserving the joy around what they're doing?
To your point, redefine what success is for you, because it's not just numbers. And like, if it's joy, like it doesn't have to be commercial. Like it's completely valid. And you can say that you are a practicing artist if you also have a full-time job. Like carving out those parts that you can like be free to be creative is a huge success. Like, and yeah, I'm saying that obviously from a privileged position, because it's like, oh yeah, well, I've been able to create a career out of it. But I think my personality type is geared to throw myself into like these like risky situations, and I thrive in that chaos. But like, there's this artist friend of mine, I admire her so much, and she's like so mysterious and so cool online. I'm like, oh my God, like, I wish I could like, oh. I'm like, no, that's her, and that's so special, and that's her superpower. Like, find out what you're good at, find out what makes you happy, and then like carve your artistic career around that.
You've also like across your career done so many different crazy art-based things, like almost stunt-like. Like the ones I got here are like locking yourself in a box for an auction, selling a completely blank canvas. I'm interested in like where those ideas come from. Is it a thirst for doing something different to what you're doing already? Or is it just like, I'm just going to fucking do this? And like, what's the aim around doing things like that?
It's all just a bit of fun,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, just keep it light. Keep like, it's not, you're not saving lives here. Let's just like fuck it up a bit. Like,
Yeah.
let's just do some random stuff. Like, and also it's a marketing campaign, isn't it? Like any other business, like we need like these stunts. What I will say actually is those stunts in particular that you mentioned, they were to do with auctions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the auction world is like kind of what you'd play into if you're like a high-end artist.
Mm-hmm.
So like I always want to do them a bit differently because like I don't want to do them the same as like a artist represented by a blue chip gallery would do them. Like actually in that world, typically an artist wouldn't be able to directly consign artwork directly with an auction house. Like I don't know why, but I just made friends with the auction house owner. It was kind of like a smaller one, but still like a very prestigious one. And he just like let me give the artwork to them and then do like a stunt around it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, and these progressive thinkers in the industry I'm like latching onto because like that's interesting. Another thing, I met the king.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. And basically it was to do with a charity called the Elephant Family.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to paint like this on this massive egg, right? We're at this auction. It was at Kew Gardens, and I do this thing, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to have it an auction. The top people in the room, people are going to like, oh, I can bid this amount. I can bid this amount." It's just like a big dick off competition.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, I'm like artist woman of the people. Like, why don't I have my massive egg and open it up for donation? So if you donate £1, £2, you'll be in a chance to win this massive egg rather than like one really super rich person winning the egg.
Love that.
Then we made loads of money doing it that way. So like I feel like it's important when I am in a privileged position and I'm walking into these rooms in my future career, I have to always remain true to like why I started it and like what my unique edge is. So like always looking at things. So it's like the stunts, like that wasn't necessary at all. Like I locked myself in a box for 24 hours. I got a UTI on live stream and was pissing blood. No, it was so bad.
Where did you pee in the box?
There was a chemical toilet on the live stream.
That's nice.
Yeah, I know. I'm like so artsy and weird. But like the piece went for a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? Like there's always an element. And then like I did a blank canvas auction where that was the first one I did, and we sold a blank canvas for 10 grand.
Oh my God, unreal.
It was so fun. But then obviously I was like, "Hun, what do you want on the canvas?" Obviously, thank you, but I'll paint something on it for you. But you know, it's all marketing. It's all a bit of fun. So
yeah, and I think as well, like I imagine so much of this is why you still have such a passion for your career, despite the fact that you are good at the commercial stuff whilst also doing the art. Is like there's still so much enjoyment in it. Like you're.
Can this just be the chaotic episode? Like, just keep it in because, like, honestly, like,
Yeah. Like, if for anyone listening, there is a thunderstorm that's just started, and we think it's because both of us are psychics and giving witchy energy.
Yeah, it is.
Which makes no sense in the grand context of things. But there's a sudden thunderstorm, and it's hailing outside. Perfect. Yeah, I feel like that must tie in because like you're still injecting so much like fun and passion and like you into everything you're doing, and that really shines through. Like I think that you so easily could have been a trend, and your art so easily could have been a trend because that's what you get when someone's super successful in a boom period, and you've been able to continue and being able to do what you still do.
Oh, that is so nice because like being in business and being an artist, but particularly being an entrepreneur for a long period of time, you have to be dynamic and you need to understand market conditions and market factors and be fluid and drop your ego and be able to shift tactics and strategy and like stay in the game.
And with the things like Charity Shop Fridays, is that how those types of ideas came about as well?
Charity Shop Friday is such a it's now developed like a new meaning to me and my team. Honestly, it honestly initially was about just trying to get an interesting new video. I love hunting for bargains, and I was a bit bored in my studio, so I just wanted to like paint on something random, and like that was it. Now it's become like shining a light on the already fantastic work that charities are doing, and to be able to do that is like a real blessing. And also like meeting everyone in real life, like people that and then like seeing like young people like wanting to come and like wanting me to draw on their items, and like getting new young people into the art world. Like I don't know, I just it is a bit stunty, yes, but I feel like it just epitomizes what I believe Sophie T Art is about, which is community and democratizing access to the arts. There's so many ways I'd like want to move forward and do that. I've actually signed some contracts yesterday about a new business I'm setting up. It's called Source Paint.
Amazing.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do an art supply business for like such a long time, and I really feel like now I'm in a solid position to be able to do that. And it will allow me to look at business in a different way as well, because with Sophie T Art, it's a expensive product, and I haven't really wanted to introduce any merch or like the cheapest thing that we do. We have a coffee table book for £250, and then aside from that, it's like £1,000 print. So it's like very expensive work, which kind of when I'm like singing this song about trying to be accessible, like I'm missing something, because it's actually quite expensive. And with Sophie T Art, I've not been really able to provide a product that engages with my core belief, which is getting more people into the arts. The Charity Shop Friday definitely does that, and that's fantastic, because I mean, people can just rock up for free and they can win the item. That's great. But actually, I think that art can save people. Like the act of being creative is such a powerful one. It's amazing for your mental health. And yes, the product of that will be pain. But what I want to try and build is getting more people into the arts. Where's the Duke of Edinburgh for art?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why doesn't that exist? Where's the like more funding towards the arts at schools? Like it's being cut. Like I feel like people don't really take the arts or careers in the arts that seriously. Well, it's the visionaries that are changing the world. Like why are we not like propping the arts up? And if I can, that's kind of like my legacy that I want to build with Source Paint. Although it is just an art supply business, actually, not only do I want to understand what it's like to sell a product at scale, which I've not been able to do with Sophie T Art, I also want to like be able to have more touch points into like people making things happen. So yeah, I've got a very stunty cool idea for my marketing campaign for Source that I won't bore you about. But like, yeah, it's always just like...
Yeah. And I also like, I don't say stunty negatively at all. I feel like you're such a good example of like how to be able to operate in the online world now. And like, you've had to be able to do this to like, you've built your own platform, and versus what would have had to be given to you or nepotism to you or like, you know, got to you in some other way. And art is such like an unrealistic career for most people who don't come from money and like have that type of background. So to be able to show the way that that can be done, I think it shows far more people as well, like how not just people getting into art in terms of like being able to buy it, but also like I can't imagine how many people's careers you've inspired in terms of actually just being like, oh, I could do that. It's just like starting any other business. Like, why can't I do that? And yeah, I think that's really amazing.
Aww.
For anyone listening who is inspired by what you said and kind of is thinking, oh shit, I want to turn a creative passion into a career. Like I want to bring this into what I'm actually doing day to day. What advice would you give them?
Well, I've realized that this piece of advice that I've been giving, I thought that like Buddha said it or something, but it's actually Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But he said, and this is the advice that I'm now going to give, is
Very similar people.
I know, yeah. I actually said it before, and I was like, "Are you quoting The Rock?" And I googled it. I said, "I guess I am." And the advice is,
Please continue.
One day or day one.
And you should put that on a canvas. But it's true. It's true.
It is. There's not going to be like a perfect situation. You have enough money, or you have enough friends, or you're on top of your family relationships, or like you're feeling creative. Like, just get going. Like,
so funny. I'm also just really thinking about the fact that you thought that was Buddha that said that.
No,
I'm just
I was so nervous coming in here. Sat downstairs before coming here. I said, Alex, this is an important one. I have to show up. I've worn 2 shirts today, guys.
Is how much I am business. And a tie.
Yeah, and a tie. Alex was like, well, interesting. I was like, I know. I mean, business.
Business, yeah. Well, it makes sense and it all ties together, and I loved the advice.
Okay, thank you.
Well, given I laughed at your advice so much, do you want to tell me what the best piece of advice is that you've ever been given? And it can be from The Rock, or it can be from someone else.
Okay, interesting. Best piece of advice.
The Rock.
Well, that was my answer to that question, guys. So we have this little joke between us. Like, one of our best-selling products, prints, is everything's going to be okay. And we always just say it to each other, and we're just like, everything's going to be okay, size medium.
I really like that.
Depending on how big of a you fucked up, but everything's going to be okay, size XL.
I really like that.
Yeah. Because it just will be.
But thank you so much for joining me. You've been fucking brilliant.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I have loved watching your journey.
Oh,
over the past few
and
weeks.
You, honestly, I've been watching you for such a long time. This is such a weird feeling. So yeah, it's so nice to finally meet you properly.
And you. Well, thank you so much for coming on.